overrated rapper in the game today is any rapper that doesn't want to be a rapper. Guys that say, I'm not a rapper, I'm just a hustler, or I'm a drug dealer, I keep it real in these streets. First of all, they're all lying. There's nobody on a major record label selling drugs. That's a blatant lie. And number two, if you don't want to rap, don't rap. Go sell drugs. It's a profession that if you want to get into, there's very few barriers to entry. It doesn't require any specialized education or skill. Just go get in the drug game. As far as Twista, I don't know, I think it's okay. I never understood a word the man said. This performer is not a rapper, but I'm going to put her on this list because she exists in this hip-hop world that we're talking about, and that's Alicia Keys. In the last couple of years, she's put out 2 albums that did not live up to expectations. She really hasn't had hit singles except for the one with Jay-Z, which really, Jay-Z made hot, not her. And then she broke up Swizz Beatz' marriage. Make no mistake, he was married with kids before they got together. She got pregnant before she got married to Swizz Beatz, and then she fell on stage. And you don't want to see it happen to the baby, but if you're 5 months pregnant, how about you don't go crawling around on top of pianos? And she gets a complete pass by the media because if Mariah Carey or Britney Spears did half of these antics, they'd have to change Us Weekly to Us Daily or Us Hourly to cover it all. And let's keep it real. She's a pretty good singer, she's a pretty good piano player, she's okay looking, but she's kind of chubby. She makes her living singing overly dramatic love songs, and we know she likes screwing dudes. She sounds a lot like the new Elton John. Rick Ross has the whole world going nuts right now, and the man is so overrated, it's incredible. Now, let me get this out of the way first. His beat selection and his guest appearances are impeccable. They leave nothing to be desired. But when you talk about that guy as a rapper and his history, how the hell anybody can like what he does blows my mind. He was a cop, he's a fat slob, he's damn near 50 years old, and he raps like a retarded person. And no disrespect to the mentally handicapped, but Rick Ross, if he was in school, he wouldn't be on the same size bus as everybody else. And the worst shit that this dude does on this song BMF, where he starts off the hottest verse of the summer with I feel like Big Meech, Larry Hoover. He's not even rapping, he's just listing criminals. Literally anyone can do that. Just pick up a mic and be like Bernie Madoff, O.J. Simpson, and see if people lose their mind over that, because that's all Rick Ross is doing. The one good thing about Rick Ross is he gives everybody hope that at any minute you can turn it around and do something radically different with your life and live out all your dreams. So right now, if you're in your mid-30s and you're a fat slob and you're a cop and you have buffoonish tattoos and a lazy eye and girls don't like you and you think, well, this is it, I just ride this out for another 50, 60 years and then die. No, you don't. You can start rapping, make up your life, make up your history, rap badly and just get your hands on a good beat, and you can be the biggest thing in the music industry. The one guy in the game right now that is both underrated and overrated is Drake. Everybody under 25 should get off his dick, and everybody over 25 should stop hating. He's a pretty good singer, he says some clever stuff when he raps. I personally think his album's pretty solid, and all his guest appearances and stuff he's done already has been really hot. So let's, he's not, for the older heads out there, he's not the end of hip hop. You put that out of your head. He's doing some good stuff. And for all the younger kids out there, he might be the next Jay-Z or the next LL or the next all-time great. But let's not give him the crown. He hasn't, what he did with his mixtape last year and with his album this year has been impeccable. But you got to do that for 8, 10, 12 years before you're in that conversation. So while Drake is killing it right now, he might not do it forever. But if you're over 25, give the kid some love. If you're under 25, get off his balls. Everlast from House of Pain is not only one of the most slept on rappers of the last 20 years, but one of the most slept on musicians regardless of genre of the last 2 decades. Came out in the late 80s with Ice-T and the Rhyme Syndicate, put an album out that, looking back, it wasn't that bad, but wasn't really well received at the time. Then he came out with House of Pain, and they released 3 classic albums and 1 just anthem. Jump Around is so undeniable that you could play it at a wedding, a bar mitzvah, a sweet 16, a retirement party, and everybody from little kids to adults just lose their mind when that record drops. House of Pain ended late 90s. He went out on his own and created this whole new genre of music, kind of combining country and folk with hip hop, which was way better than you would ever think it would be, and had hits doing that. Early 2000s, he got in a lyrical beef with Eminem, and in my opinion was the only rapper ever to not just get embarrassed and torn up by Shady. What Is Your Revenge is actually probably the best Eminem diss track ever, and I'm a huge Eminem fan. I'll go ahead and say, Everlast got at him a little bit on that one. And then, he kind of was quiet for a couple years, and in the late 2000s, he came out with La Coca Nostra and combined forces with two of the sickest underground talents ever, Ill Bill and Slain. And he not only holds his own with those guys, and this is no disrespect at all to Bill or Slain, he's the star of the show on a lot of those tracks. So don't sleep on Everlast. Pitbull is the only rapper out of that whole crunk movement that's still relevant at all. So you gotta give him props for staying in the game. And I personally love him because he's the only rapper I know of that looks, dresses, and acts like he belongs on the cast of the Jersey Shore. Another MC that belongs on people's top 5 dead or alive, but unfortunately isn't, is Bun B from UGK. So for right now, let's forget about the work he did with UGK. Let's just put to the side the fact that him and Pimp C, rest in peace, were the entire blueprint for Southern dope boy hip hop. That they did what Jeezy and Gucci Mane and Rick Ross and T.I. are doing now and our superstars doing, that they've been doing that for close to 20 years. Let's forget all that. Let's forget that they did the independent grind and sold millions of albums without a record label before anybody did that. Let's forget the legacy of UGK for right now and just look at Bun B in the last 5 years. He's dropped 3 classic albums that just bang from beginning to end. And then on top of that, he's done collaborations with everybody. He's the only MC I can think of right now that can work with Beyonce and La Coca Nostra and everybody in between and rock with everybody. He'll be on a conscious track with a Talib Kweli or a Lupe Fiasco, turn around and do a Dirty South track with Lil Wayne, turn around and do something a little more pop-like, he's got Latoya Luck on his new album, obviously he was on Check On It with Beyonce, and he will rock all of that. He's probably one of the most versatile rappers of all time, and doesn't get nearly enough credit for that. So big up to Bun B, rest in peace to Pimp C, and if you're not up on UGK and that whole catalog, definitely check it out before you make your next top 5 dead or alive list. The 2 most slept on rappers of all time are Vanilla Ice and MC Hammer, because they drew up the blueprint of what it is to be a rapper today, whether you like it or not. They came out 20 years ago and they said, we don't care about lyrics, we don't care about being socially conscious, all we care about is making a dumb pop song that white kids in the suburbs will like. We want to sell them as many records as possible, and as soon as we're done selling them more records, we're going to sell them products. We're going to sell them Taco Bell, British Knights, Hammerman cartoons, MC Hammer dolls, and that is exactly what every rapper does today. So unfortunately, whether you love it or hate it, the blueprint of hip hop in 2010 was not drawn by LL Cool J, KRS-One, Rakim, Public Enemy, NWA. It was drawn by MC Hammer and Vanilla Ice.